Risky Cheese, your team is awful. Happy Thanksgiving. Live from the west side of Wilson County, this is SmackTalk.
Well, I want to welcome everybody to the Gobble Gobble edition of SmackTalk Live. I am your host, Johnny Stardust. So, let me tell you, I got a couple things this week I want to talk about, but the first one, it seems that my sister, Loetta, has had quite an effect on some of these coaches out there, some of you coaches, especially Coach Postel. It's bad when you start letting somebody that's not really bright with football knowledge start doing your power rankings every week. But I do have to say, she did a very good job. She may be smarter than I thought when it comes to football. However, she is from my genetic line. So you got to think she must know something by putting the smack of T's at the top of the list. Now, we all know that's where I should have been from the beginning. But for some reason, there's a lot of doubters out there in fantasy world. So, let me tell you, it's gonna happen. You people are gonna have to start worrying about my smack of T's when it comes to the playoffs. We'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. Now, down to the nitty gritty. It has gotten down. I'm in the playoffs. Couple other teams are in the playoffs that probably shouldn't be there, but there's some teams in there that are a little lackluster. But let me tell you, the Smack of T's are moving for the Central Division title. That's right, I only got to win 2 more games, and I'm playing a team this week in the Bruce's Bruises that are on a downhill slide on slick ice. They're going down, and I really don't even have to play very many players, I think, to beat the Bruce's Bruises. Now, the next week, in order to clinch that Central Division title for the 2nd year in a row, I'm going to have to beat the beloved Ditch Dogs. Now, we have a pretty equal team. I typically tend to score better in the later months than the Ditch Dogs, but I'm going to tell you what it all comes down to. It all comes down to coaching. We both have good players, but knowing when to play who, that's what it's going to come down to. And if you look at the statistics over the last few years, I've had the Ditch Dogs number. So I really see myself becoming the Central Division champion. And let me tell you, that's a highly coveted division championship because we all know the Central Division is prime time. Now, let me tell you, there's a team that is out there that I think has a very good chance to get over the bubble and possibly make it into the playoffs. And that is Coach Kenny and the rebuilding year. Now, the funny thing is old Risky Cheese, how he's still in the playoffs, I don't know. But let me tell you, he's going to fall out of that about as fast as a squirrel falling out of his nest in the tree. He is absolutely on a sinking ship. And I think, you're going to hear it here first, I think rebuilding year will be our number 8 playoff spot and actually get in the playoffs. And let me tell you, at the beginning of the year, rebuilding year was just downright awful. But they come on with some great coaching. I think we need to watch this Coach Kenny because I think he's got potential. He may sneak in and do very well. Now, I do want to talk about my personal pick, the Midgets. I had, in some past episodes, really said that I think the Midgets are going to be the team to beat. Now, it's funny how a few weeks can change your whole thought process, because now that the midgets are starting to put their faith in Jay Cutler, the interception king, it ain't helping their cause at all. I mean, I'm going to have to change my pick, because the midgets have just gotten bad all of a sudden, and this is not the time to have an interception king as your main quarterback. It is so funny how everybody tends to want to draft running backs and wide receivers, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to a good quarterback like Matt Shaw, for example. And so I want to say right here that the midgets are off my list as contenders officially right here. And so I want to add, instead of the midgets, my pick now is the Smacker Tees. So you be watching this week. It's Thanksgiving weekend, and I mean it is down to the nitty gritty. And I mean that Thanksgiving Day game that's usually so boring now has some serious things we need to watch. So you all get ready. Have a good Thanksgiving weekend. And hey, if you don't eat too much pie, let the smack flow.